8th November 1980, morning session continues.
And once they are given up as not something of my original nature, then you see that the individuality, just that individuality is lost. Once that individuality is lost, the only thing the consciousness can identify itself is with the total universe. Understanding of this process. नेहमीच आपण हे सगळं समजून घ्यायचं, ते सत्संग समजलं जातं, समजून घ्यायचं नाही आपल्याला, ज्ञानाला आपण थोडं पण भरायचं, काय समजून घेतो आपल्या ज्ञानाला आपलं थोडं पण भरायचं, समजून नाही घ्यायचं. इट इज द ओनली थिंग इज दॅट नो दिस नॉलेज आय एम, दॅट इज एव्हरीथिंग. And considering that is everything, that is the thing one should hang on to and worship. As soon as you say you have to understand, or you have to find out, you want a process, you want a way, that means who is this you? So this individuality is still there. So unless the individuality goes, you see, it becomes a vicious circle. म्हणून ज्ञान विषय आहे. This question arose because you are identifying yourself with the body. It was identification with the body which is asking. So once that is given up, this question cannot arise. अज्ञानी हे नको नाही, पंचात कोणी चढणार नाही. Maharaj says, one who is not a sincere seeker will not climb these steps and be here. He understands it. He wants us also to understand it very thoroughly. तुम्ही अज्ञानी आहे म्हणून तुम्हाला शिकवत नाही. ज्ञान पूर्ण ज्ञानाचं ज्ञान तुम्ही आपण कसे बोलतोय, तुम्ही आपल्याला काय समजा. He says, whatever we may think of ourselves, whatever image we may have about ourselves, Maharaj says, understand. I am talking only to that knowledge which I know you are. Anyone can
identify itself with the body or is it separate from each other? How can one explain that?
मूल एकदम लहान असतं तेव्हा त्याला आपला देहाशी त्याचा संबंध वेगळा काहीच माहिती, तो पदार्थ ज्ञान आहे. बोललो that is all. The question is still concerned with the body of the child. पदार्थाला काय करणार? So it is merely some material. What knowledge can the material have? The baby is born of the material. So he says, what can that material have any knowledge about its own being? So long as it is a material. Objective knowledge. As a child you want to study. You are not studying yourself. व्यक्ती आपण हे तुमच्या ध्यानात बघून आमचं पोलं सुटणार नाही. So long as one continues to believe that one is an individual, he says, take it, that it is impossible for this mystery to be solved. In fact, an individual cannot have the mystery solved. That's it. Individuality given up with mystery automatically solved. तो म्हणतो आपलं व्यक्तित्व सोडायला भीती वाटते. आहे कुठे तू ह्याच्यावर मानतोय. That is the mistaken identity. It is not your identity. So what you are afraid to give up is your mistaken identity. It is the mistaken identity if you are afraid to give up. पण या जाते म्हटलं काय ऐकलं नाही. शब्दाने शब्दाला गेले असं ऐकलंय. ज्ञानाने ज्ञानाला गेले असं ऐकलं नाही. Earlier you may have heard lot of words on this advice, but there were words spoken for words. It was not knowledge speaking to knowledge. as it happens now and here. Elsewhere, words speak to words. Here, knowledge speaks to knowledge. That is the difference.
लोग वार्ता ज्ञान मरे पड़ेंगे वापस अब तुम जान बोलो
Until the day we die,
तिने काढले रक्षण तुला बाल पाहिजे त्याच्यावर चाकी घालून घालून त्याला शाळा केलं नंतर नाना गोष्टी शिकवता लोक वाचतात तेच त्याचं सगळं ज्ञान बरे पडले तुम्हाला मला आत्मज्ञान कुठे आहे लोक वाचतात ज्ञान आहे काय कोणी बोलायचं
Maharaj said, this lady mentioned the baby. So he said, on that baby, stroke after stroke of conditioning has been imposed on it by the mother, the father, the teacher, by everyone. And it is that growth with that compounded and collected conditioning which works through the life, throughout the life, as a pseudo entity.
The child when it's born is free of all these conditions that we do not put, not a personal perspective, but I'm speaking of the child, not my own body, my
सगळं ज्ञान वार्ताहर आहे वार्ता लाभ आहे स्वतः ज्ञान असं कोणाला नाही
So the last thing was, whatever one thinks knowledge one has is only something which we have read or heard or something imposed on us, and it is nothing but hearsay and conditioning. The true knowledge about oneself no one has.
तुमच्याकडे कोणतेही अक्षर आहे ऐकून तुमचे नाम सांगितलं आहे तुमने मरेपर्यंत तुमचं माहिती तुम्हाला ज्ञान आहे आत्मज्ञान
So he said, everyone is given a name. He firmly believes that that name is me. And what is that name? Something taken out from somewhere, few people discuss, and some name, some label has been attached. And that label we accept as our very being.
तुमच्या नावाचं तुम्हाला ज्ञान नाही तसं नंतर जे जे अक्षर ऐकले त्याचं तुम्हाला ज्ञान नाही परवानी शिरजवानी
Similarly,
आत्मज्ञान नाही
just as that name was something told us by others, so all our knowledge is entirely second-hand knowledge, something which has been told by others. Hearsay.
दुसऱ्याकडून ऐकलेल्या शब्दाशिवाय तुमच्या एखादा शब्द सांगा
He said, Maharaj says, say something which you have
तुमचा
not,
प्रायव्हेट शब्द सांगा
say one word which is your own, which you have not heard from others.
मग त्याने तुम्हाला जन्मदिवसापासून त्याच्या पुढे वाढ घेतलेली त्याचं ज्ञान सांगितलेलं आहे
So he says, whatever knowledge you have been given is knowledge subsequent to the appearance of a body as its birth. It's only subsequent to that whatever knowledge you have has been given to you.
अधिक ऐकू नका थोडंच ऐका पण आपल्यासाठी आपल्या करता थोडंच ऐका तुम्ही असल्याची तुमची जन्मजात कोण आहे कायचं नाव घेऊ नका जन्माच्या खाली काया नव्हती उचल काया निर्माण झाली जन्मजात म्हणून काय आहे तुमची हे ओळखा दुसऱ्या करायची गरज पडणार नाही
Maharaj says, you will hear a lot, even here you will hear a lot. But all you have to remember are only one or two things, but understand them well. And he says, one specific thing is, understand what is born. It is not the body which is born. The body gets created. So he says, what is that essential, that basic, essential, fundamental? What is it that is born? Find out that. What is it that is born? You are very elegant. You understand what this is Omkar.
Maharaj says we talk of Omkar, has not understood what Omkar is. He said someone hurts you, you shout, oh. He said that is Omkar.
Upasana. You said how to do
उपासना कशी करायची ओंकाराची उपासना
आपण सुद्धा ज्ञानाची उपासना करायची तुला काय करू नका आपण या ज्ञानाची उपासना करा उपासना नको करू
Upasana, Omkar Upasana is only the Upasana of your own being, your consciousness. Something tells you that you are alive, something tells you you exist. I know I am. I am conscious that I exist. He said that consciousness, he said worship that consciousness. या जाणीवेची उपासना कशी करायची
आता तुमचे मतना आहात मी आता बसण्याचे बसण्याची उपासना कधी करता तुम्ही बसण्याचं ज्ञान आपल्याची उपासना कशी काय करता
He said, now you have this knowledge that you are sitting here. You know that you exist and you are sitting here. So if you are asked to understand that knowledge and do upasana of that knowledge to the exclusion of everything else, what will you do?
जगामध्ये तुम्हाला लाखो विचाराने ज्ञान सांगितलेलं आहे पण हे ज्ञान ज्ञान हे काय आणि कोण हे नाही सांगितलं
He said, there is
उपासना कशी करा आत्म करा कारण सगळं काय सांगितलं आहे तुम्हाला
people get about lots of practices to be done, lots of disciplines to be followed, and on that any number of books have been written, any amount of words have been given. But he says, Maharaj, but people don't get told of what your true nature is. The basics, fundamentals are forgotten. And the whole structure is created on some concepts. So he said, forget those concepts, find out your basic thing, your true nature. Try to find that out. A little earlier he had said, find out what is born. I don't know whether you heard it, you are probably right in this question.
More of the upasana, not of the upasana. He wants you to find out the हळूहळू जरा जागृती म्हणणं आली जवळ कसं आहे हळूहळू जरा जागृती म्हणता आली आणि ते मग हळूहळू ईश्वर आहे किंवा ब्रह्म आहे अशी ओळख निर्माण करून घ्यायला उपासना त्याच्यातून अन्य काय आहे ते आमच्या कोकणामध्ये ते सारखं होतं त्याने पाणी असं भाकून कसं हे सगळं बाकीचं काढून टाकायचं उपासना उपासून झालं ते राहिलं ते उपासना
Maharaj said, this knowledge we are, this consciousness, that itself will gradually sprout itself into knowledge. But for that to happen, any number of concepts which have been heaped on it, those have to be dug out and demolished. Then that basic knowledge will remain. And that basic knowledge will sprout into whatever that is necessary. मग याच्याकरता काहीतरी तयारी करावी लागेल काहीतरी पूर्व तयारी पाहिजे
होय तुम्ही जगदीशाला काय काय तयारी केली
महाराज
जगाचा अनुभव येताना तयारी काय करून आले
Maharaj said, in order to get this body and this consciousness within the body, what efforts did you make? पूर्व कर्म हा शब्द तयार आहे they are all words, something which you have read or something we have been told.
तू आहे लक्षात ठेवा आले का आले आपण आहे हे लक्षात ठेवा आले
All these are concepts. So Maharaj always goes to the basic. So he says, how did this first knowledge that I exist, that is the basic. Find out how that knowledge that I exist
Vasana, in other words, to be so. How to get that?
सगळं सगळे उपाय सांगितलेले आहेत. हे मी आहे हे ज्ञान कसं आलं हे समजण्याकरता हे सगळे उपाय सांगितलेले आहेत. पण म्हणजे कोणाला करणार त्यालाच ना all those ways and methods. Who is to understand those methods? It is only this being, this knowledge you are, it is only that which has to understand. Who else can understand?
Not easy to understand this easily. Very first hearing our first is thought itself. We have to prepare ourselves. We have to get rid of all our notions.
उपमा बंद करून होई रा.
He says, stop conceptualizing. Sit still. That is the only thing that is to be necessary.
तुम्ही जगात ऐकलं आम्ही एक शब्द सांगणार नाही तुम्हाला.
He says, whatever you have heard or listened or read, he says, Maharaj, he will not expound on it because there will be further concepts. So the concepts that have already been accumulated have to be given up. How can that do? He says, just sit still and let them fall off.
Automatically it will follow.
Yeah, if you sit still.
How can I? Sitting still is a bit difficult. Mind will be working always.
स्वस्थ बसायचं कसं मन चालूच असणार. स्वस्थ बसायचं कसं.
आता मी समजलो बोंब मारून जातात सगळे माझं काय केलं.
He's sitting here.
मी त्यांच्यावर पडायचं
Come there, they keep shouting, they do all kinds of things. No. He said, anyone, not he. He said, you are sitting. He said, you are sitting here. There are people coming shouting, you don't go and join them. You are still sitting here quietly. So he said, let those thoughts come and go. How are you concerned?
Believe that the thought can go.
What is those thoughts? When you are there. But if you sit here, as you are sitting,
अर्थ मला ओळखा. शब्दाचा जो अर्थ ओळखा कळलं तुम्हाला त्याच्यामध्ये नाही ओळखा. आज कुठे शब्दाच्या मार्ग.
Maharaj, understand this very thoroughly. What do we all do? We get involved in words and the meanings of the words and the concepts which we have built on those words. So we are getting involved in a whole forest of words. But where are you really? He says, we really are prior to the words. That is our original stand. He said, be there.
I have one question. How to know
How are you concerned? साधू आहे की नाही हे मी कसं
तू आहेस की नाही एवढं बघ.
मी हवा
तू असला तर साधू कुठं आहे? तू आहेस की नाही एवढं बघ.
He says, forget about others. Find out this. He says, I know, I exist. He says, find out about that knowledge. How did that knowledge come upon you? He said, why are you concerned with sadhus or non-sadhus? गुरु शोधायचा कसा?
नको सोडू. शोधला आणि कोणत्याने काय केलं हजामत केली आहे? काय केलं त्या गुरुने?
He says, I am in search of a guru. What can that guru do for you? Can he shave your head? मग ते ज्ञान कोण देणार?
हा तुझं पोहायचे ज्ञानच तुला ज्ञान नाही पण उगी बस.
He says, don't take the trouble of searching for a guru. This knowledge you are. He said, sit still and let that knowledge you are, which is the guru, let that guru work. Because they don't do this. Because they don't do this.
The mind is very familiar, forceful.
त्याला कठीण आहे. मन चंचल आहे.
म्हणून तुम्हाला सांगितलं नामस्मरण चालू ठेवा.
So he says, those who find this difficult.
म्हणजे दुसरा विचार त्याच्यात भरणार नाही.
So he said, then keep
त्या
that.
शब्दामध्ये तुम्ही नादान होऊन जा.
So he said,
विचार त्याच्यात भरणार नाही. हळूहळू शांत होत.
so if this you find this sitting still difficult, he says, then do namasmaran, so that you keep your mind occupied with this name, and thereby prevent other things coming into the mind. That's no. कसलं नाम म्हणतो
तुला मी नाही म्हणणार. गुरु करता तिथं फक्त ऐकून जा. आवडलं तर ये तुला म्हणजे येऊ नको.
And if you like what you have heard, come again. But if you are in search of a guru, this won't help you.
मी गुरुबाजी करत नाही काय. ते एवढंच मी सांगतो. सकाळपासून या लोकांना तुम्ही काय आहात तो ठेवा एवढं. त्यापर्यंत मी कर्म काय सांगत तो फार कठीण जातो. तो कोण सांगितलं सांगितल्याप्रमाणे ऐकून व्हायला का बोलले ऐकल्याप्रमाणे महाराज told you. Have you not even tried to do it? And you are talking about difficulty.
How can you tell that?
तुम्ही कितीतरी वर्ष प्रयत्न केलाय. अरे तू काय तुम्हाला 5-25 वर्ष लागले. जुन्या लोकांना सांगून घेतलं नाही योग करू. सर्व त्याला ज्ञान नाही झालं.
He said, you may have tried for 525 years. But he said, there are yogis who have hung themselves upside down for hundreds of years, and they haven't got knowledge. How to get that? मग ते कसं ज्ञान कसं मिळवायचं? मग ते ज्ञान कसं मिळवायचं?
ज्ञान पाहिजे या आठवणीने बस पडू शकतो. आपण ते ज्ञान प्रकाश
That you know you exist. That is the consciousness. That is the being. He said, sit still in that knowledge. And let that knowledge work for you. You don't go outside now for conduct in the world.
काय माहिती
There is time for that.
कर्माचा अभिमान राहिले आहेत ना. अभिमान आहे ना तो सांगता द्यायला नको.
They are caught up in the pride that they are doing something. But there is an entity, an individual who is doing this sadhana. Until that pride is there, they will never get the knowledge. Because someone is doing this. I am the doer of a discipline.
आवडतं जे म्हणतात तिथून बघत नाही. एवढा ग्रंथ होते एवढा माझ्या बनवलं माझ्या काम करत आलं.
At his age and at the stage of his health, now he has no stamina to discuss things which are very irrelevant, but earlier he might have done it. But
मराठी समजून नाही पडेल. मराठी
8th November 1980, evening session begins.
November 11, 1980, evening.
It is concerning the birth principle again. You remember, Maharaj said we are hanging from the shoot of banyan tree. But it seems to me that the beginning of consciousness, we were just talking about it at length this morning, could it be that the cause will be just love for life, love for just being, and then that will become, of course, the I amness will make a structure, will make a design out of it. That's absolutely wrong, but it seems to me that the basic love for being is real. Am I right? With the background of the beginning.
What he said, that I amness itself is the love for being. That I amness, what you say, or consciousness, that is itself the love for being, to be. It is not the cause.
No?
That love,
निर्माण केलेले नाही आहे.
it is not created by any.
प्रकाश
Oh, it is self-effulgent, self-created, spontaneous. Nobody has created it. It is spontaneous happening.
चैतन्य निर्माण झालेली आहे. त्या चैतन्यामध्ये आत्मप्रेम आहे.
This dynamic nature, it is spontaneous happening. That love to be, the love for being is innately inside. Intrinsically, it is inside only. It is sprouting from inside. It is not imposed from externally.
So,
It's like the seed, it sprouts from inside. The growth is from inside. You don't plant the twigs and leaves and fruits from outside. The growth is from inside. Similarly, that love to be is from inside.
आत्मा जाणून
In that
dynamic manifest nature. If that I amness is not there, how the expression will be there? That love to be is not there, how that I amness expression will be there?
आपल्या ओळखीला ओळखून जे आपण नवीन मागता
Oh.
ते चुकीचं आहे.
See, whatever the way you assume that you are something, I am this or I am that, it's all wrong. Don't assume that I am something. Without assuming whatever you are, that is correct.
त्या गुण रसातला गुण आहे ते.
Oh.
खाल्लेल्या
Yes, sir,
रसातला
good.
गुण आहे. आणि आपण खाल्लेल्या रसामध्ये असतो त्याला सत्व म्हणतो.
Oh.
म्हणून ज्ञान म्हणजे सत्व म्हणतो.
Oh, oh. But this I amness is the product of this food essence, sattva. Sattva means food essence. It is in the dormant conditions in the food. It is already there.
सत्व सत्व म्हणजे काय?
हो.
आणि घी चालतो.
Oh. What is sattva? Sattva means essence. It's like the oil or what you call the butter. Butter is the essence of the milk. And this knowingness essence of this food essence. Body, food essence. Oh, this body is the food essence, whatever you consider. The quintessence of the food essence is the knowingness. It is sprouting from inside, from the food essence. Why are you?
आपल्याला बसून आहे त्याचा देखावा आहे.
What are these flowers and the leaves? Is the expression of the dynamic manifest nature. That is the inner motive force. It is a principle inside that is expressing itself like this. Oh.
तुम्ही आता बोलून नाही
Oh.
ते पण नक्की होतं. आणि उद्योगाला स्मृती जर त्याच्यातून आमच्याकडे द्याची नोकरी मानलो त्याची द्याची नोकरी.
You see, every moment that happens to you is as a result of the dynamic manifest principle which is universal, because that expresses itself through the body in the form of movement. Whatever you see here is the play, is the manifestation of that play itself. And whatever intuition or inspiration you get, that is also the outcome of the manifest play.
ज्ञानाला
Oh.
दुसरा नमुना नाही.
Oh.
दुसरा नमुना जो त्याला पोचणारा अन्नाचा आहे.
Oh. Oh.
त्याला पोचतो अन्नाचा आहे. तो भिन्न असलेला ज्ञान आलं त्याचा नमुना नाही.
The knowledge I am does not have a perceptible vision. You cannot see it. It cannot be observed. Whatever you can observe as a result of that is food only. Then its nearest expression is the food. It is hidden in the food.
तुम्हाला आम्ही सवय जडलेली फक्त युद्ध करणार. त्याचा अभिप्राय मी अभिमानकडे घेणार.
He said, I might give you any amount of teaching on spirituality about this manifest dynamic principle, and the expression of that is happening through this body. But you will try to understand that I am the body. The pity is, we try to understand that I am the body and I am the doer.
मग ते हमीत
हो हो
ते काम करते.
हो
लहान नंतर हात याच्या उलटे मी करतो.
It is all this movement or happening through the various bodies. is the very habit of the dynamic nature, dynamic manifest consciousness. It is habit only, and it is spontaneously happening. But we claim it that I am being. We claim ourselves as an individual, and whatever happening, we think we are being.
बघायचं काय नाही एवढं ऐकायचं बघायचं काय नाही तर तुम्हाला ज्ञानाला दुसरं नाही ते त्याच्या भाग्याला आणि ते आवरणाला दुसरं
After
ज्ञानाला
listening,
दुसरं नाहीये तुम्ही आपल्या ज्ञानाला दुसरं ते दिसेल असं दुसरं नाहीये त्याच्याने आकार दिसेल पण ते नाही दिसत
ते बघणारा ते आहे ना स्वतः बघणारा आहे ना त्याला ते स्वतः
भाषा दिसत नका ज्ञानात नाही कोण आहे ते बघतोच आणि ते म्हणतात
the knowledge I am cannot be perceived, but it's packing material. It's container. The food body is a container. It has the form. So my talk, you have to understand it only. You have to assimilate my talk. You have to do nothing, because you as the knower or the knowledge I am, you have no form or design. Therefore, you can't do anything. It's all happening to you.
विवेक ओळखावे विवेक ते साफ घ्या सरळ करून सांगा आणि विवेक काय करायचं विवेक सरळ करून सांगा निरंजने विवेकी ओळखावे हे विवेक आहे ना ते जास्त सरळ करून सांगा
विवेक म्हणजे हिशोब टाळले अक्षर टाळले अक्षर टाळले अक्षरामध्ये अर्थ आहे प्रत्येक अक्षरामध्ये अर्थ आहे तेव्हा ते अक्षर टाळले अक्षर टाळले
हे ह्याला सरळ करून सांगा हे आम्हाला इतकं मराठी कळत नाही गुजराती भाषा
नाही एकदम बोलतायचं नाही काय नाही पण कारण माझ्याकडे आता बोलवलं आले म्हणून विचारून बसलो आहे झोपलो
आपण पहिले सांगितलं माझ्या कोणी काय वीक नका
कारण ही पोळी बोलवलं शब्दाची गरज नसते आता माझा शब्दाची गरज खरंच
He repeated a couplet. Niranjane viveke ओळखावे. Niranjana means the absolute, unblemished. It is not even blemished by knowingness. Blemish, you follow? Dark spot. Knowingness is a dark spot only. In that absolute state, this dark spot of knowingness, consciousness is also not there. So how to understand that? This is the question. So it is said by Vivek. Vivek is discrimination. So he wanted something more about this discrimination. So Maharaj told him discrimination is nothing else but shifting the words, weigh the words and throw them. Understand the words, throw them. That is discrimination. Don't hang on to the word. Understand the sense of the word and throw it out. When the process of discrimination stops, no more concepts left to deal with. You are free from concepts.
अन्य नाना पिछले लोग ज्ञान है अन्य नाई को अपने कितने लगते हैं अन्य नाम में दूसरे लगते हो उनको नहीं बात मुझे क्या है कितने लगते
When one becomes unblemished, what is blemish? Even knowledge is a blemish. Which knowledge? Knowingness is a blemish. Consciousness is a blemish. In the process of discrimination, when one becomes unblemished, that means the principle of consciousness is also got rid of. Whatever is, that is unblemished state. त्याला त्याला अर्थ देऊन त्याला पुरा करायचा. शब्दाने शब्दाला अर्थ मी त्याला पुरा करायचा. दोन्ही शब्दांनी मावळ
हो हो
शब्दांचा अर्थ नाही.
It's something like you remove a thorn by another thorn, but you throw out both the thorns. One thorn is an instrument, and another thorn is an alien or a foreign material in the body. But with one thorn you remove both the thorns, and both the thorns are thrown out. Like that, all this expounding means what? Whatever concept you are having, with this form of concept, that also concept form embedded in your body is removed. But this also must go and that also must go. So these words will remove the words in you, and both the words will dissolve themselves.
या ज्ञानाचा जाणीवेचा सगळा प्रचार आहे.
Oh,
आपल्याला कसल्या जाणीव सगळा प्रसाराच्या जाणीव फक्त जाणीव म्हणजे ज्ञान तुम्ही होऊन बसा.
oh,
पण तिथे सगळं तुम्हाला कळेल आपल्या.
oh. Whatever visible manifestation is, that is the manifestation of your consciousness only. Is the expression of your consciousness. Because you are all this world is. It is the paraphernalia of your consciousness. Therefore Maharaj says, stabilize first in your consciousness. Be there. When you are there, everything will be dissolved. You will understand what is what. Oh.
त्याला तुम्ही मूग नसतो.
Oh, good म्हणतो.
त्याला तुम्ही नंतर मूग नंतर आजार हळूहळू सत्वाच्या चंद्राने एक वर्ष होत
हो हो
शहाणा झालं.
हो
ज्ञान झालं.
हो ज्ञान.
तिकडे तुम्ही सोडून द्या.
हा
अजान ज्ञान म्हणजे काय ओळख.
बस.
अजान ज्ञान जर निर्माण झाले नाही
हो
तर पुढे वाढले नाही.
हो
तुझ्यावर ज्ञान परमेश्वर ज्ञान
हो
कुठे
हो हो हो
इतकंच थांबा. कोणी नाही थांबलं. देवाच्या अर्थाच्या मागे लागलोय.
He says knowledge. What is the knowledge of child? The child does not know itself. The child in the beginning does not know. So he says is that ignorant knowledge. When the child starts knowing itself, then the child is fed with lot of external knowledge. And then it knows so many things. It tries to know a God also. Follow? But it started from no knowing knowledge. Now you don't proceed further and try to inquire into whatever it has acquired. Follow? You will get lost there. You go to its root. That ignorant knowingness. Understand what it is. There you should go instead of going the other way.
अजान ज्ञान अजान अवस्था असे करूया.
Oh,
केवळ ओला पदार्थ आहे.
oh, oh.
ते त्याच्या हळूहळू त्याच्यामध्ये ज्ञान प्रकार वाढला नाही. जगातमध्ये मोठा ईश्वर सुद्धा आहे.
हो
बालपणामध्ये अजान पोर होते ते.
हो
पण वाढल्यानंतर जगामधला मोठा ईश्वरी पुरुष व्हायला उतारू पुरुष आहे. लोकांच्या जरा म्हणजे एक ओळखा अजान ज्ञान म्हणजे काय.
He said, you must go to that root of that knowledge. What is that? So long as that potential moist condition is there of that, whatever principle is there, a birth principle or child principle, until then that growth of knowledge will be there. But it sprouts from that ignorant child principle, not knowing consciousness. Starts knowing itself, then it gets lot of knowledge. Even it might attain a great status also. But when
provided it sprouts from that ignorant, not knowing consciousness. Get to know this first. Then you will know everything.
अन्य जगामध्ये ईश्वरनी सर्टिफिकेट घेतली अजान विचार केला जात पाहिजे.
He said now, a very child ignorant consciousness in the process of development and also spiritual development, it starts abiding in consciousness. And it got the title of godliness also. But when it got the title of godliness, when that child principle was there, if the child principle was not there, that godly state could not have been achieved. So what is the antecedent necessary? What is the prerequisite? The child consciousness, not knowing consciousness.
कोण बरोबर आहे का?
Has anybody stabilized in that child not knowing consciousness to understand what it is? Stay put there.
कर्म समोर भावना दृढ आहे. भावना तुलनामय आहे. सर्व कर्मणूक तुमचं फार्मर जो मध्ये संसार होतो कर्मणूक काय मला ते बोला.
He said instead of stabilizing there and knowing what it is, people want to acquire knowledge. They become expert in the spiritual disciplines, but they are spiritual disciplines, physical disciplines. And whatever you do is nothing else but entertainment. Everything you do in the mundane world or in the spiritual world, it is nothing else but entertainment only.
म्हणून नाट्य म्हणून गेलो आहेत बालकृष्णाचे ध्यान करून बालकृष्णाचे दर्शन झाले. शिवाय तुमचे प्रवाचे होणार नाही. बालपणी असलेले कृष्ण म्हणजे अज्ञान न ओळखा. कृष्ण म्हणजे अज्ञान. अज्ञान असून ते मार अगदी केसासारखं नाही पदार्थ नव्हे तो. ज्या पदार्थ नव्हे त्या पदार्थामध्ये असलेले बालकृष्ण तुमचं अज्ञान ते ओळखा. त्याने वैकुंठ करतात.
It is always said normally that you get to know what that child Krishna is. Bal Krishna. Bal Krishna is child Krishna. Child Krishna is not some person or something to be known. Child Krishna is your child consciousness.
बालकृष्ण म्हणजे बाल अज्ञान.
Child ignorant consciousness. It is not the body, but that inside principle. That motive principle inside it, inside the child. It is ignorant, no doubt, but try to understand that, what it is. So instead of settling therein or inquiring therein, people think of proceeding to heaven, Kailas and Vaikuntha and all those things, all mental concepts.
तिकडे तर कल्पना बंदच करून द्या. तिकडे विचार काही जाणायला गेलेली कल्पना बंदच करून द्या.
सगळं कल्पना नाही. मी आता जीवनदायी कल्पना आहे. कल्पना आपली नसेल आम्ही कळत नव्हते मला.
बरोबर आहे.
मी आता जीवनदायी कल्पना कल्पना नाही.
He said in meditation, all concepts cease. So Maharaj said, even I am is a concept. You must get rid of this concept, I am. When you are free from this primary concept, I am, you are Kalpanatik Niranjan. You are without any stigma, without any black spot. And what is that black spot? The black spot of this I am also.
I am Brahma, Kalpana Brahma.
Now, when you are the Brahman is, when you are all this manifestation is Brahman. But when is it? When you are the Brahman is, but you are in a concept. I am in a concept, therefore the Brahman also is a concept.
एक किंवा तोच कोणी मी शिवाय म्हणून पल्ली घरामध्ये
That birth principle, although it is initially ignorant, that alone in spiritual evolution takes the title of God. This very consciousness, in due course, becomes God.
कसं ओळखायचं आयलो म्हणणं
When you come to the source of that Bala Krishna, the child consciousness, or that child, you will say, no, I am not this. You will spurn it. You will not like to own it.
त्यापैकी हे ज्ञान नाहीये ईश्वर तुला ईश्वराला ईश्वराचं ज्ञान कसं असते ते माणसामध्ये माणसाने त्याचं ज्ञान येणार नाही
What I am telling you, it is godly knowledge. That is manifest, whatever is it. This is the knowledge regarding that. This is not the knowledge about the state prior to the appearance of beingness. That absolute state. This is not the description of that. This is the description of the child consciousness and the manifesting. It had no energy before you came. After you came, I got charged. Battery got charged.
ब्रह्मज्ञान होणार नाही लाल म्हणजे काय ओळखलं जेव्हा ब्रह्मज्ञान होणार नाही लाल
Get to know what this shyness is. Oh, what the shyness is, you will not understand what the Brahman is.
त्या दिवशी त्याच्यात काय ना काय केलेलं आहे मूर्ख घेऊन कोणीकडे येत
He said, Maharaj says, since you have come all the way here, that means you have done some homework in spirituality. A person who has not done any homework in spirituality shall never come here.
काहीतरी ज्ञानाचा संपर्क असलेल्या माझ्याकडे कसं येणार नाही काहीतरी ज्ञानाचा संपर्क असणार
You have some contact of the spiritual knowledge. That's why you are bold enough to come here. Otherwise you would not come. Him is running fast.
Maharaj says, that we have to go kind of inwards, we have to understand our own self. And this consciousness is within us. We are it. Is it located?
You are the consciousness.
Yeah, you are. Is it any
Consciousness
location?
is not within you. You are the consciousness. It is only sustained by the body.
8th November 1980, evening session continued.
Don't say that we want to go to consciousness. You say going where?
Yeah.
How do you go? Do you walk or do you run? All those things. So, you are the consciousness is. Because you are the consciousness.
आणि ते होऊन नका काय चालण्यामध्ये आपण मी या करू ते वाढवा
You have not to become consciousness.
ज्ञान आपण म्हणा या विषयावर
Probably so long you have been calling yourself as the body. Now give up that identity with the body. And you are the consciousness. Confirm this. Stabilize in this identity.
काय केलं
निरूपणी
निरूपणी हे सद्बुद्धी होते शब्दा होता तर हे विकला म्हणे तुला स्मरण झाला परत समाधान उडून जाते विसरून जाते तर मग काय
पुन्हा तू आपल्याला देह मानलास मेलास आणि तुला जेव्हा झोपून गेलो मी देह नव्हे पुन्हा तू देह आहे ही सवय पुन्हा आरती म्हणजे ते सगळं मग
He recited some couplet, I don't know, but the meaning is probably this. During a discourse, spiritual discourse, my intellect is one with my true nature. But later on I am again one with the body. Or rather, later on I lose that. So Maharaj says,
later on you become one with the body. That's why you lose your identity with that truth, with the consciousness.
ऐकताना ज्ञान म्हणून ऐकत होतो आपण, ज्ञान म्हणून ऐकत होतो. ऐकून झालं पुन्हा मी
Because when you are listening to the talk or the discourse, the listener is the knowledge hand. From that standpoint you are listening. When the listening was over, you again embrace the body as yourself.
आणि पुढे घेऊन नाही. परमात्मा म्हणजे काय शोध आहे, पण साधा प्रश्न कोणी जाऊ शकत नाही. ते काय
It is all the people are spiritually very knowledgeable, he says. In their own way, they have done research in spirituality. But here nobody is opening his mouth to ask questions.
म्हणून काय माझी गरज नाही. मी माझ्या दुसऱ्या मला आहे पण मला त्याची संधान गरज नाही. म्हणून माझं उघडा बोलतो त्याचं ऐकायला त्याचा.
Why do I talk without any restraint, without any inhibition? Freely I talk. It's because I am very liberal. I am very liberal because I am totally full, complete in all respects. I want nothing. Although I am possessing this godly state, that is the consciousness, really I am not in need of it.
मला काय माझा मला काय
Suppose
प्रांगणाला कचरा आत्मबुद्धी विषय फुलवाणी साठी फुलवाणी कली आहे. ज्ञान पंचभूताची नाव आहे. ज्ञान हे त्यांना पंचभूताची नाव आहे. ज्ञानाचे नाव आहे. जगामध्ये देवदेवता नाव आहे. ज्ञानाचे ते ज्ञानाचे आणखी ध्यान करून
he says, if you identify with the body, with one stroke, you will be dead. Death is assured for you. If you embrace the body as yourself, death is a certainty. Therefore, Maharaj says, give it up, your identity with the body. Give that identity. And understand that you are the consciousness only. And what do you mean by consciousness? Consciousness means the five elements. You are the five elements. You are the Prakriti Purush. You are those three gunas. Everything you are. You are the manifest world. It's your place. You are all that. This is what the Guru tells you. You must abide in that. All the great titles which are given to so-called gods, those are all the titles related to you. They are your titles. Such a high state of yours. You are that manifest. You are the manifest consciousness. That manifest, highly elevated state, you hand it over to the body, in charge of the body. During your death.
देवगुरु गुरुदेव गुरु स्वरूप ज्ञान तुझं ज्ञान तुम्ही मरणावर काळाच्या आता देतोय. आम्हाला आम्ही अविनाशी आहे. सगळे देवदेवता आम्ही नाव दिलं तुला भक्ताच्या ज्ञानाचे ऐकून ठेव. मग
Again repeat. You are that consciousness. All the titles of the gods are your titles, your names. But by clinging to the body, you hand yourself to that god of time, and god of time is death. You are imposing on yourself the punishment of death.
असा काय शब्द बोललो मी जेव्हा अवघा विषयावरती झालो
Oh,
तेव्हा माझ्या घरचे कमी गेले
oh.
माझी गरज मला नव्हती माणसं घर माझं आहे तर मला गरज होऊ
While going on what he said, I am the total Ishvara. I am the total universe. When I am the total universe, I am not in need of anything. Because everything is I am. But when I cramped myself into a small thing, I made myself into a fragment, then I need so many things. I am very needy with that state.
ज्ञानेश्वर हुआ थे बहु विश्वनी माझे घर आज ऐसा जाता निर्धार कुंभवना चला चला अपरिचित झाला त्याला काय हवं ते कोण तू असल्याचे ज्ञान
As Jnaneshwar said, you see, when the entire universe becomes my dwelling place, it means I become or I am all the animate and inanimate of the universe. I am everything. So that should be your conviction.
हे ओळख काम करून घेऊन मिळाला काय झालं मग कोण त्याचं लागेला
With such firm conviction, what is your status?
जोपर्यंत तुम्ही उठाय ज्ञान प्रकाश मागलाय तोपर्यंत जगदीशाला दिशा ज्ञान नाही जगदीशाला दिशा ज्ञान नाही पण हे ज्ञान पण याच्या ओळखीमध्ये जातो पण त्याच्या लाभायचं भाग
So long as the knowledge I am is not illumination, is not enlightened, that means the knowledge I am is not there, the universe has no direction and no sides. That means there is no universe. Such a high state of yours, that is, you are that high state, unfortunately, you give it to the time, you confine it or condition by time.
तुमचा स्वरूप निश्चय करा एवढं
Develop your firm conviction about what you are. You are the consciousness. Stabilize therein.
तुला विश्वास द्यायचं तुमच्या ज्ञानाचे जसे माझ्या विषय नका
You are deeply in need of this universe. But what is that universe? That universe is the very expression of whatever you are. You are the universe.
ज्ञान झालं म्हणतो तरी आत्ता मनाच्या जीवामध्ये गचक्या खातोय
You are listening to the talk.
आत्ता मनाच्या
You presume that you are getting all the knowledge. Still he says, you are drowning yourself, you are struggling yourself in the water of relatives, bodily relatives, bodily intimacies.
तर मग आत्ता मनाच्या ओळखीमध्ये बोलला गेला आहे की नाही
You presume that you are a jnani, that spiritually knowledgeable. You think you are spiritually knowledgeable. But is it not a fact that you are entangled in your relatives, bodily relatives?
आपल्या तुम्हाला भोगावं लागते आपण ज्ञान आहे तर सगळंच आहे पंचभूते
Spontaneously you are experiencing the knowledge you are. Spontaneously you are experiencing. That alone is God, and that alone is everything. In the absence of this knowledge you are, no God is.
हे लक्षात ठेवून आणखी काय करू नका
Firmly remember this, abide in this, and do nothing.
या मित्राला भजा बाकीच्या पूर्ण साधन काय करू
I am means this knowledge, this consciousness only. Worship this principle, abide in this principle, nothing else to be done.
खरोखर मेळा असता तो दुसरा प्राणी त्याला निर्माण झाला ना व्यक्तिगत ज्ञानी कल्पना नाही आवडते आणि तिथं त्याच्या व्यवसायामध्ये मी म्हणतो पण एखादा त्याला मेला असता तर पुन्हा दुसऱ्या जन्माला आला असता
He says, if the common understanding was a fact, that means suppose one being dies, and if that understanding of death is a correct understanding, that means complete annihilation, then there would have been no further creation.
त्याला काय बोलावं असं वाटतं काय विचार
Like to say something now?
आपण ज्ञान स्वरूप आहे
हो
हा त्याचा शाश्वत विश्वास झाला ते चराचं ज्ञान स्वरूप आहे शाश्वत आहे हा निर्धार दोष आहे आमचे पायगोळ घालून नव्हे पायगोळ घालून नव्हे आपला
There's a poem of a great sage. He says, the sage is real sage. Real means the one who has realized, or a sage who abides in total consciousness, who knows he is the total consciousness. Such a sage can immediately and directly initiate anybody visiting him into that state. That means he also communicates the same elevated state into the people who are listening to him. They are also raised to the same elevated state, that they also become that manifest consciousness.
To realize quicker by
It is said, a real sage, if anybody goes in his presence, they are also elevated to a high state. A sage is not a personality. A sage does not consider himself a personality, a human body. A sage abides in total consciousness. He is the consciousness. So his consciousness of the sage, that means the consciousness addresses to consciousness, talks to the consciousness. So anybody who is entrenched in the body, he is also elevated to the state of consciousness only. When he is addressing you, he does not address you as a human being, as a person. He addresses you also as consciousness.
आपण ज्याशिवाय देहरहित होता
हो
त्याच्यात त्याला आपण देहरहित त्याशिवायचा केला
Oh. Because a sage considers himself as consciousness, but not the body. Similarly, when he addresses to anybody, that anybody also, according to the sage, is pure consciousness and not the body.
त्याला तुम्ही नमस्कार आहे
Oh. Now we are posing a question. When you had no knowledge of the body, that means in the absence of the body, did you exist or not? Were you there or not?
तेच आता त्याचं वाचेल ज्या असतानाही ज्या नसताना जातीला गेला तेव्हा नसतानाच्या स्वरूपाकडे गेला अंधेवापरतो
What is the spiritual realization? Therefore, he says, in spite of the body, realization means what? In spite of the body, to attain that state which is available in the absence of the body. Prior to the arrival of the body, whatever true state is there, that true state is attained in spite of the body. You follow?
तेव्हा तो आता गेल्याशिवाय
हा.
ते भय भीती
हा.
आणि मृत्यूभय करणार नाही.
He says when this is realized, then only you can arrest death and fear. Because you already abide in a state without the body sense. He's asking now a question. You did not have this bodily image. Who knows this? You did not have the body. Who says that? Who can know that? That means you did exist. Even though the body was not there, who can know it?
अंगापूर्वी माहिती मी नव्हतो मी नव्हतं ज्ञान कोणाला आहे कशाला
Now suppose another question is
म्हणजे
posed.
असं मी नव्हतो.
What were you or how were you 1,000 years back? You will say, I was not. What do you mean by I was not? You were not like this. Like this you were not. But as something else you were. That you were.
ज्ञान मोकळं मुक्त आहे परंतु ओळखीने चांगले नाही अत्यंत ते मोकळं.
Whatever you are, your true nature is quite open and free. But you cover it, you put it under a shroud. You give it various designs. That's why your true nature is lost. We decorate our true nature artificially. So what we see is all artificiality.
व्याधीचा सारखा अष्टपूर्ण मला अनुभव येतो तरी जमण्याचा मोठा व्याधीचा अनुभव सारखा आहे पण त्याच्यावर माझ्यावर त्याचा परिणाम नाही आहे. माझी बाजू अफाट अनंत अपार मोकळी आहे. जसा जसा येतो त्याला त्याचा होतो त्याचं दुःख आहे.
He says all the 24 hours I am experiencing that big charge that is made on me. That is the sickness. The sickness I am suffering or enjoying. It is going on all the 24 hours. But I am not affected by that. Because my true nature is different. This is only a patch on me. But it does not affect me at all.
निर्णय बोलून त्याला आलेली आहे तो माझ्या वेळात बोलू शकेल काय तुम्ही बोलून असताना तुम्हाला कसं काय समजेल.
If with such a serious sickly charge delivered on anybody of such a sickness, will that person be able to talk so vehemently and vigorously as I am doing?
तो म्हणजे ब्राह्मण आहे आमच्या लोकांमध्ये नाना प्रकार वागावं लागतं तरी पण आपण भविष्यामध्ये ब्राह्मण आहे
Just like a high caste Brahmin, normally he does not forget his very precious caste. He is a high class Brahmin. So but because of problems, worldly problems, he mixes with all the people. But he does not forget his high caste. Like that, the true state, he says, a sage does not forget.
एक झालाय ऐकून.
हो मनाला कळतं.
हे अमुक एक झालाय त्याच्यावर तुमचं चित्त असणं ते वाढत जाईल.
हो 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 हो
अमुक एक झालं ते विसरून म्हणले
हो.
ते अष्टाची माझ्या विचार
He says, now what's the trick of this?
लक्षात की मग
He says, if suppose something has happened,
लक्षात आहे.
then if that something has happened, you strengthen it by focusing your attention on that continuously, or by applying your mind. That goes on multiplying. Whatever has happened, you see, that goes on multiplying. That also gets strength. But suppose you just ignore it, it will just vanish. It will die its own natural death.
त्याच्यामुळे डॉक्टर त्याच्या तुम्ही पैसे घालू नको बरोबर असेल घरी देणार त्याला कधी 2 दिवसापुरता नाही तरी पण त्यांनी धैर्य दिलं खरोखर धैर्य
हो
त्याच्या वाढीच्या विषयावर त्याच्यावर आपल्याला माहिती 2 दिवसापुरतं
He says, if a doctor is really good, then he says, even if a patient suffers from a terminal disease, suppose even if he has a life of a couple of days, but if the doctor is good, he will give him full confidence. He said, don't worry, you are not going to die. So if when such a confidence is given, the patient does not remember the disease at all. He is sure that I am going to live for a couple of years more. So he forgets those 2-3 days and he survives. But if the doctor says you are going to live for 2 days, probably he might die in 1 day. Because he will be always thinking of the disease.
9th November 1980 morning.
ही पंचमहाभूत सुद्धा आपल्या जाणीवेचीच नावं आहेत त्याच्यातूनच आलेली आणि पूर्वी एकदा आपण असं सांगितलं की जाणीव ही पंचमहाभूताच्या सत्वाचाच गुण आहे. तेव्हा म्हणजे दशातून काय उत्पन्न होतं, काय आधी काय मग, त्या दोन्ही बरोबरच.
एखाद्या कोणत्याही पदार्थ अनेक स्वादाने अनेक रूप असू शकतात. फक्त पदार्थाचं कसं आहे ज्ञान म्हणजे आहे सगळ्या जातीला पूर्ण ओढलेला सगळ्या धर्माला पूर्ण ओढलेलं आमचे तुमचं नाही ज्ञान म्हणजे त्याच्यामध्ये सगळं अख्खा जगात जग सामावलेलं आहे त्या ज्ञानामुळे त्याचा व्यवहार चाललेला आहे. मग प्राणाचं ज्ञान म्हणा तुम्ही पण प्राणाला ज्ञान तरी कुठे वाहून आलं आहे. पंचभूत ब्रह्मातून निर्माण झाले आहे पंचभूतातून प्राणी निर्माण झाले आहे. एका वेगळ्या विषय नाही आहे हे तात्पर्य आहे त्याचं म्हणा तुम्ही अजून
त्या दिवशी मला सत्राने विचारायला म्हणाला की इथेच हाच प्रश्न त्यांचा होता. ते मला म्हटलं मला जरा विचार असं झालं हाच प्रश्न होता. मी आधी काय सत्र त्या दिवशी आले होते त्या दिवशी मला काय चाललं होतं की हाच प्रश्न त्याने विचारला तुम्हाला मला काय मला जरा विचारला पण हाच प्रश्न होता त्यांना 3 दिवसापूर्वी हो हे इथंच त्याचं बघून बरोबर इथं. So the question was, is that Maharaj said at one time that I am the consciousness, I am the 5 elements. Call them by whatever names you like. That is the consciousness. And at the same time, we are told that consciousness is the taste or the essence of food. So he said, which comes first? The hen or the egg? That is the question. So Maharaj says, if you see the picture as it is, that is, the consciousness is immanent in everything. Consciousness is there all the time. But for consciousness to manifest itself, a form is necessary. And that form is made out of the 5 elements.
Without manifestation, it is all consciousness, everything. Then the five elements, out of it, each individual form is the essence of the five elements. And the manifestation takes place when the form is there. But the consciousness itself, universal consciousness, is immanent. It is all pervading.
का जे ज्ञान चालू आहे ते कल्पना प्रसिद्ध आहे हे सगळं व्यवहार ज्ञान कल्पना प्रसिद्ध आहे शहर बांधता कशावर कल्पना त्या सगळ्यांना आधार कल्पना आहे ज्ञान हे कल्पना प्रसिद्ध नाही सगळं करायचं स्वतःच लेखून स्वतःच सोबत एक निवड सोबत असं नाहीये
The entire manifestation is the appearance in consciousness. And whatever knowledge one has is purely conceptual knowledge. It is not, Maharaj used the word, Swayam Prakasa, something which has arisen from itself.
स्वयं प्रकाश मनाचं साधा अर्थ काय आपल्या
He says, the word Swayam Prakash, it is what? So he no, he says it's even simpler than that. It's something spontaneous. No apparent cause. Something spontaneous.
स्वयं प्रकाश साधा अर्थ
And he said, there is no difference, please understand, he said, the whole basis is there is no difference between the manifest and the non-manifest. The absolute and relative. The absolute transcends the relative. But the absolute is immanent in whatever is relative. The non-manifest by itself is not manifest. It is purely subjective. But whenever there is an object, it transcends that object, and what is phenomenal, in that the noumenon is immanent. So the immanence and the transcendence exist at the same time. They are not two different. He repeatedly tells us not to forget.
एवढे अनंत अपार असून उलटे काय होते त्याच्यामध्ये काय उलटे होते म्हणजे आजकाल आला आपण जे कल्पना आणलं होतं आहे भरपूर त्याला आपण आहे कल्पना आणलं
Maharaj further
आहे कल्पना ते पचवलं
Maharaj further explains, if something comes out of something, then the original something must be less by what is then born. He said that is not so. So what happens? What appears, what is seen, is merely mirrorization of that which originally is. So the phenomenon is merely mirrorized, what is mirrorized of the non-manifest or the absolute. They are not two different things.
कोणत्या भाषांत वेगवेगळं आहे ना थोडीशी आता मी व्यक्त करतो विशेष याच्यामध्ये काय आहे कायमध्ये उभा आहे कायमध्ये उभा आहे कायमध्ये रूप गेले की समजा कायमध्ये उभा आहे हेच ज्ञान हेच चैतन्य आणि हे दोन कायमध्ये उभा आहे हेच चैतन्य तुम्ही नाव द्यायचं नाव द्यायचं शब्दाबद्दल होत आहे पण जातीमध्ये बदल नाही
So in this body that we consider ourselves to be, he said, what is it that gives the sentience? He says it is a want. Now that want is the consciousness. Then you call it Agni, or you can give them any name. But this is what it is, the animus. That which makes the body alive. This consciousness, sentience, give it any name you like. But it is this difference. Without it, the body is cold, the body is merely five elements. This is how alive the world is about this want. He says how virile and alive this world is, he said, this want.
पण त्याची नंतर शब्दांनी नावं वाढली शब्दांनी महत्व वाढवलं
Then,
आणि शब्दांचा आता बोलायचं प्रगल्भ झाले
you see, what the real thing is nothing but want. Then many names of all kinds and of all status has raised this simple world of want into an enormous thing. Whole structures have been erected on this simple want.
याच विषयावर आणखी माहित नाही पण आम्हाला जरी काया नव्हे असं ठरलं आणि आम्ही फक्त जाणीव आहोत असं जरी मानलं तरी अशी एक कल्पना येते की ही जाणीव म्हणजे आम्ही काहीतरी निराळी जाणीव आहोत. माझी जाणीव निराळी, यांची जाणीव निराळी, त्यांची जाणीव निराळी असं हे काही सुटत नाही. हे का आणि हे खरं आहे का चुकीचं आहे?
चुकीची कल्पना आता प्रकाश बघतो कुठला किरणाचा प्रकाश आहे हा सिंधू तो मुळामध्ये कल्पनांच्या आधी असणे स्वरूप आहे. कल्पनेच्या आधी असलेले स्वरूप आहे. स्वरूपाचा अर्थ आहे नुसतं स्वरूप आहे असं नाही.
स्वरूप याचा अर्थ काय हा प्रश्न आहे.
आपण आहे
पण ती
स्वशब्दाचा बोध आपण आणि आपणाचे दर्शन ज्ञान प्रकाश शब्दाचा बोलतो त्याचा ऊन बघतो तरी पण प्रकाश आहे तो आजचा प्रकाश आजचा प्रकाश होत नाही. आमचा प्रकाशाचा निवारा दिसतो तिथं द्वैत नाहीये, दोन नाहीये. तुम्ही वार करता बघू तुमच्या शब्दाचा कोणत्या अर्थामध्ये आम्हाला सांगणार. तुमच्या शब्दाच्या कोणत्या अर्थामध्ये त्या अर्थाप्रमाणे तुम्ही आहात. आणि तुमच्या शब्दाच्या अर्थाप्रमाणे तुम्ही वाटता. पण तुम्ही बघा वाईट चोट अंधार काय शब्दाच्या अर्थामध्ये अर्थाच्या बाहेर.
So the question was, he said, however firmly I may take it that I am not the body, that I may accept, but that I am the conscience, the sentience, that also I may accept. But it is extremely difficult for me to accept that this sentience and conscience which I am is the same conscience or sentience which you are. That is very difficult to accept. So Maharaj says, he said, understand once again this warning, that this light, he said that light is the presence of the original Swarupas. That is what I am. That is the light, the presence of what is originally not even aware of its existence. So now the light is only one. But there are innumerable rays. And only when that ray falls on some obstruction, some object, that object gets light. Light is always there. But that doesn't mean that the millions of objects have different rays of a different kind, of a different light. Light is essentially the same.
ज्ञान असलेले ज्ञान रात्रीने स्वाभाविक लाईट आहे.
The nature of this one, this sentience, this conscience is basically light, light of knowledge, light of presence.
लाईटचे जन्म म्हणून कसं सिद्ध करतो.
How will you demonstrate the birth or death of this light?
लाईट त्या लाईटला रंग आहे, त्याला रंग नाही. रंग त्याला अनंत म्हणणार. रंगी आहे.
This flame comparably has some color, but this light of knowledge that I am talking about has in one sense no color, and in other ways, every possible color is contained in that light.
तुमच्या आवडीच्या शब्दाच्या कोणत्या अर्थामध्ये तुम्ही वस्ती करता?
He says, what is that image of you which you have, the most likable image that you have about yourself, which you think you are? Is there any image which you have had at any time, which is yourself?
या बोलण्यात काय प्रश्न?
Maharaj says he has been talking, but we merely accept it without questioning it. He said, unless you produce questions, how can I produce answers?
बाळजन्म नावाचा पदार्थ किंमत असते ते काही. बाळजन्म नावाचा पदार्थ किंमत असते. नंतर 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 ती बाहेरची हवा आणि आतली त्याचा गुण ज्ञान आहे, त्याची उमग आहे. जाणीव माझ्याचा गुण आहे. दुसऱ्या म्हणतो जाणीव हा तुमचा पोहलाच आहे. म्हणजे काय पोल म्हणजे जाणीव हा तुमचा पोहलाच आहे. म्हणजे पोरणी संज्ञा कशा मारली कोण सांग करताय एवढंच.
Maharaj said, we accept the consciousness or the beingness. He said, what is the consciousness or the beingness, the essence? He said, is it not the essence of that which is conceived and born? The essence, the taste. Maharaj often uses the word taste.
काहीतरी आहे ना.
He says, what is it to which
तिथं सुप्तावस्थेमध्ये उभं आहे. ती हळूहळू प्रगल्भ होता होता नंतर तुम्ही वाढली नंतर हळूहळू करू लागली. यामध्ये लोक विचार करतात का मारती सुरुवात कुठून?
He said, where is the start of the
तुमच्या
whole?
आमच्या भला वाईट भोगाला कारण सुरुवात कुठे आहे? भला वाईट भोगाला कारण आणि सुरुवात कुठं आहे?
He said, what is the start of this suffering which we are experiencing now? He says, what is the start of it? To what is the name the child is given? He said, nobody really thinks on these lines. Is it not that which was conceived, in which this consciousness is later?
काय प्रश्न?
Any question on this particular point?
पण तो फोन म्हणून लाईटचा अणू आहे. म्हणजे उभ्याचा अणू आहे. त्यांचा लाईटचा अणू आहे. ते फोन लाईट नाही जवळ व्यवहार होत. लाईट म्हणजे गुणच ज्ञान आहे. लाईट न त्याला मी कोण म्हणजे लाईट सगळं गुण लाईट ज्ञान आहे काय?
This consciousness, knowledge, the life, the world, all of this, the same thing, is latent in what was conceived.
तुम्ही आपलं भलं मोठं करण्याचं भलं होणार आहे हे म्हणण्याकरता कोणत्या पदार्थाचा पकडला आहे तुम्ही आपल्याला?
Maharaj says, even coming here, each one of us expects to get some benefit, for something good to happen. So he said, what is it that we expect something good to happen to?
अध्यात्म तत्व म्हणजे काय? अरे केव्हा अध्यात्म तत्व म्हणजे काय? ही अध्यात्म म्हणजे ते केव्हा केव्हा नाही अध्यात्म.
What is this primeval principle? प्रश्न आहे आतापर्यंत on this point.
On this point, yes. You said everything is latent in the baby born, but then the baby born is just blank consciousness. Doesn't know any name, anything.
Yeah.
Is it exactly the same thing than the pure I amness without shape, without form that one Adam can apprehend again? Is it exactly the same thing?
Latent. Is it something which
Or
can
the latent, as I understand? Is it a different?
मला सांगा.
नाही तो आपण सुप्तावस्थेत म्हटलं ते त्याला इंग्लिश शब्द काय समजला नाही.
लाड अवस्था.
You see,
Is it a difference?
the material, something has been, it is material.
Yes.
Now that material is as latent as something which can't be seen, but it is there. So that knowledge of existence, this consciousness, beingness, Maharaj says is latent. So Maharaj translates another way. He said latent. So he said, what is meant by latent? He says something which is in deep sleep at that time, which can still awaken.
But the consciousness could be born in something in sleep yet.
That's right. That which has been conceived and ultimately takes shape as baby. This knowledge is latent, is asleep, is in deep sleep, which is still to awaken.
हे विचारायला कोणत्या पदार्थात आधार घेतलाय? कोणत्या पदार्थाचा ओळखीने बोलतोय?
He says, because of what have you been able to ask this question?
तो फोन हे काय आहे असं चाललं होतं. कशाला म्हणतात फोन मध्ये ते सुप्त खूप आहे. नंतर जर लाईट
So
ते ज्ञानी झाला.
that which has enabled you to ask this question, and because of which one can become a jnani in due course, is that not the same thing which is latent in what has been conceived and later taken shape again?
आता सुप्त अवस्था घे. त्याच्यातले जो कुठे आहे आता?
That flame now is in deep sleep until it is awakened. So it is latent.
आता सुप्त अवस्था आहे की नाही?
Suप्taवस्था.
याच्यात लागणे कुठे आहे?
He said the fire in this is in deep sleep, is latent, is it not? Until it is awakened.
आता जर याला हे लावलं भडका करेल की नाही?
The moment the flame is in,
तो भडका आहे कशात?
so whatever is inflammable, the heat is latent in it, is it not? That is what he is trying to do.
पण तू आपल्याला ज्ञानाची माहिती देतोय. तू आता ऐकतोय बोलतोय तुला कळतोय कोणाची माहिती मी देतोय.
So Maharaj says he is giving you the information of that because of which you are able to perceive and understand, without which you will not be able to understand. It is about that that he is giving you the knowledge. The knowledge about the knowledge. Knowledge I am, or being, is a consciousness, whatever we call it.
अध्यात्म तत्व.
And that is the primeval principle.
तत्व आधी
That primeval principle,
म्हणजे ते आधी
from that which existed prior to anything else, prior to any other concept. That from that, and is you.